In this movie, we're going to have a look at the paragraph panel, which is very handy if you want to add blocks of text. So we're going to add some blocks of text to this, and then we're going to format the whole image a little bit later. So what I want you to do is make sure that you have Paragraph Panel AEP open, which you can find in the O2 Creating Comps and Layers folder. And in there, you want to have this composition open here, which should already be open. Now I have the Type tool selected as well, so make sure you have the Type tool selected. Now there's another file that you need to open, which is called BUMF. Now BUMF is a British slang word, and it really is there to describe any printed matter such as pamphlets, forms, or any written material. And we're going to open our BUMF file, which you can open in your text editor of choice. And I'm just going to jump to that here, and you'll see that within that text document, I have 4 kind of taglines for this drink. So what we're going to do is, first of all, select the first one and copy it. So go to Edit Copy, or Command-C or Control-C to copy. And then go into After Effects. And this time, instead of just clicking once, what I want you to do is click and drag to create a kind of rectangle shape around about that size. And you'll see that it creates a frame. And now if we paste inside that frame by going to Edit Paste or hitting Command-V on the Mac or Control-V on Windows, you'll see it pastes the text within the frame. And this frame determines how the text wraps. If I make it bigger, you'll notice that the text starts to wrap within the size of the frame. Now, obviously, we have the same settings as we have here with this text. I want to change the settings here. So what we're going to do is make a quick selection, and then just to make sure all the text is selected, because I can't see the text outside the bottom of the bounding box, what we're going to do is hit Command-A or Control-A on Windows to select all of the text. And now any changes we make will update to the whole line of text. And you'll see that if I adjust the size, it also adjusts the wrapping of the text within this frame. Now we're also going to change the font. So go in here and choose just Arial, regular Arial. We're going to remove the stroke. So click on No Stroke Color. And we're going to make the text black. So bring the swatch to the front, choose the black color. And there we have some black text. Now I'm also going to just adjust the tracking. So let's bring that down to about a value of 10. I can just type that value in there. And we're also going to remove all caps. Now you'll see that all of that has an effect on how the text is wrapping. And while you still have the Type tool selected, you can just adjust the frame and decide how big or how small you want it. So let's make it about that size. And let's also bring our font size down to a value of around about 14. That's going to be enough for us. And we can also resize it that way as well. Now, you can use the character panel with paragraph text, but you also want to use the paragraph panel, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger just by adjusting the size of the panel by placing the cursor between the top and the bottom and just dragging to resize the character panel and then the paragraph panel. And in here we have several options. Now you'll notice at the moment the text is left aligned, which means it creates a nice straight edge down the left edge and then is raggedy on the right edge. If we click on Center Text, it will align it so the center of the text is aligned and we have a ragged edge down each side. If we click on this one here, we'll right align the text so we get a nice straight edge down this side and raggedy edge down that side. Now that would be very useful if the text was going to be over on this side, and we will make one that is over on that side a little bit later. But for now, I just want to choose this one, left aligned text, okay? And for now, we're going to maybe leave that as it is. And we're going to go back to the Type tool, and you'll notice that if I now select the Type tool and click and drag somewhere, it actually moves the text around. So it makes the text into a selection and moves it around. I can't actually create a new paragraph of text. So in order to create a new paragraph of text, it seems a bit counterproductive, but I have to go back to the Selection tool and then back to the Type tool. And now that I'm back with the Type tool, I can create a new paragraph of text. Okay, a bit counterproductive, rather counterintuitive, I mean to say. but that's the way that it works. So we want to jump back to our text file, and I'm going to choose the next tagline, this one, copy it, back into After Effects, paste it in. Now this one we're going to put on the other side, so let's make it a little bit smaller so it wraps a bit more. And we'll make this one right aligned. Now you have other options down here for indenting margins. So if you wanted to indent the margin, you could leave a border around the margin by using these settings here. And that just allows me to just leave a little bit of space if I was placing it alongside something and I just wanted to move it across a little bit. That allows me to add a margin easily in there. You can also add space before paragraphs or after paragraphs if you're working with multiple paragraphs. And you can also indent the first line. If I want to just make the first line start a little bit later, I can do by using these settings. So once we have that where we want it, you'll notice if you click inside here, you make a selection, but if you click outside, we actually move the selection. So let's move that one over there. We'll create another one, so quickly jump to the selection tool, back to the type tool, and if you want the keyboard shortcuts for that, it's V for the selection tool, and then Command T or Control T for the type tool. And we click and drag to make our selection again, jump back to the text file, and this time we'll choose Essential Vitamins, copy it, paste it in here. Now there are another few options. You'll notice that you can justify text, and that's not really going to work here because it's adding a little bit too much space between our characters. Now there are a few options here in the wing menu that you can use to improve that. If I go to my Adobe Everyline Composer, it will increase the spacing across all the lines instead of on a line per line basis. And that usually improves a little bit the spacing if we're justifying the text. You may need to then adjust it by hand as well. It's a little bit touch and go with that. So in this case, justifying doesn't really work, but basically what justifying does is it attempts to put a straight edge on either side, and there are a few options. You can have the last line centered, you can have the last line left aligned or right aligned, or you can fully justify it so it will try and stretch the text out between the blocks. Now in this case, I'm going to stick with aligned, left aligned text. So let's choose left aligned and just leave that as it is. And I'll leave you to do the last one yourself. And you can also check out some of the other options that are available in here. For example, Roman hanging punctuation allows you to hang punctuation marks like hyphens, commas, colons, and quotation marks outside the edge of the frame, of the text frame. And that gives you a neater line down the edge. So there are lots of other options that you can have a look at in there. And of course, Adobe Online Help can give you more information about each of those options. But that's a little run through of some of the things that are available for you in the paragraph panel.